Hello, beautiful souls. My name is Diane Lang from Wisdom of the Akashics. Thank you very much for visiting the YouTube channel. Haven't done a video for probably over a week now, so I'm going to try to get a quick one in this evening. I've had a very interesting week, a very full week. My practice is really taking off. I'm going to be shifting some things about that. I'm going into some full coaching programs. However, I'm still going to do some one-on-one readings. I'm going to limit the amount that I do per week because I do a lot, I think, more thorough work when I work with somebody in a coaching program. And so right now, typically it's about 2 weeks out to do a reading with me. And if you want to understand your story in the twin flame story or any part of your life, really, the one-on-one readings are a lot more beneficial. They're directed. It's Spirit's message for you versus everybody that's coming to the channel, just to give you some basic ideas and suggestions and thoughts to think about, things to work with in this amazing journey that we're all on. So it is really beneficial. Every time I do a reading, I leave him feeling blessed to meet such beautiful souls that are coming. And I do have a special right now. And it's $88. The readings will run around 90 minutes. And we can get through a lot of stuff. And so I really do recommend that if you want to look inside of your story, your very specific story, your messages for you based on the relationship that you're looking at or questioning, or what Spirit wants you to know, to kind of grab hold of. We'll get clear messages about what it is maybe that's blocking and restricting you, or from your twin coming forward. And they really do. They give us a lot of insight into where we are on a personal level. I want to tell you a quick story just about part of the experience that's been going on for me, because the more I step into this in a sense that since I started doing the videos, a lot of things are shifting. The gateway was a really big thing. We did the story with Rhonda McNeil because there were so many numbers being downloaded in the gateway, what all of those mean. I've spoken a video that I had a little bit of we had a little bit of tension between myself and my twin, and things got very quiet between us, and that felt really good. That space felt really good. I did, however, last week feel that it was time to step forward again and just check in on him, because I do know that his experience is very tough also. And that's when you kind of can stand in, knowing that these relationships really are happening. The Spirit really is guiding us to be with these individuals, and that there are certain aspects that you will find that will show up when you start to question, is this a twin, or is this at least one of the higher relationships that I can be in. And a lot of it is because they send us on such a journey of self, and really make us start to look within and what it is that I want, and getting clear on it, what it is I offer to bring to a relationship, and get very clear on that. What's preventing the relationship coming forward, that's my stuff. And I'll give you an example of that. If you were, for example, really processing a lot of abandonment issues, men never stay, and nothing ever works out, I've been here before, I've tried this, I'm putting out all this love energy and they're not responding, and that's, and then we fill our heads with, but that's, that's the way it goes for me. And you kind of tell those stories. They really are the barriers that's keeping us from them, because they are not coming into our lives to necessarily heal those parts of ourselves. They want us to heal those parts of ourselves outside of these relationships sometimes. I don't want my relationship with my twin to have moved forward before it was ready. And when we were in a lot of communications a couple years ago, it was right at Christmas time, and we were hitting a really pivotal moment in what was happening. and recognizing how much we had changed towards each other and how deep our feelings had got and all of that. And he actually asked me one night, he said, Diane, what do you think I should do? And I said, I think you need to follow your heart and figure out what it is you need to do to make the changes so that you can make them in peace inside of yourself. And he said, do you think we're not ready? I said, I think if we enter into this union before we're ready, we're going to potentially be a train wreck waiting to happen. And I don't want to risk that train wreck with you. I'm willing to be patient in this journey, more so than I want to be with you when we're not ready. And, and I, at the time, I kind of hoped that he didn't take that was, it was any form of rejection or anything like that. But we got to openly discuss it enough that I said, if you're not ready, and if you make these changes and you make these decisions based solely on what I want and you're not what you want yet, or you're not comfortable with where you are yet in that decision, then we're not really making it in the best place that we're at. We're doing it for somebody else, and you can kind of make it akin to somebody that was maybe trying to, step away from an addiction. If they're not ready to stop the drinking, stop the drugs, or do something like that, and they solely try to do it for someone else, they solely try to do it to repair a relationship, but they're not seeing, where they need to go and work and heal themselves, those addictions usually don't end at that time. They can go off and they can go to, say, rehab, for example, and they come out and they will re-enter the addiction because they didn't do it for them. They did it for a different person. We all have to come to a place of peace in that in that decision. And so I just want to let you know that there's been some cool things happening, though, in terms of, I got very peaceful with where I was after that incident. And then I really have been focusing on my work and focusing on my business and focusing on the type of in my coaching program and focusing on the stuff that I'm going to be teaching, because I teach really a lot more than this, and I work in a lot bigger realm than just twin flame relationships. And the coaching program is really going to be about mindset, beliefs, blocks and restrictions, belief systems that just don't serve us anymore. And we have so many of them that are so unconscious that they're hard to address unless you learn how to go and identify them. And we do that through the work that we do together. But I did stop in last week. I decided I was in a good place. I felt really great that day. I felt, peaceful. I felt happy. And I wanted to just stop in and see him because I haven't actually seen him in a face-to-face for quite a while. If you watch my videos, you'll know that he drives by here a lot because of the fact that he actually does go to work through this route, and then it'll happen numerous times a day where I can maybe see him. But I hadn't stood in front of him. I hadn't made that connection through our eyes for quite some time, and I felt a need for it, and I felt that it was going to be beneficial for us to actually have that. So I actually did. I stopped in. I just, knock, kind of, here I am. I went to his place of business, and he was there on his lunch hour by himself. And when I walked in, he was just stunned. He was shocked because we hadn't actually communicated since we had that little bit of a energetic kind of, it wasn't even a disagreement. It was just it was just energy where I was speaking my mind, but in an energy of frustration. And then there was some defense that came back about that. So, but I felt like when I walked in there and I saw him and I got to see him, I actually, I had a lot of emotions because, for one, I honestly thought he didn't look very good. I thought he just looked tired. He looked kind of worn out. He's lost quite a bit of weight. And he's not in a physical body size that he would need to lose any weight at all. And so I was a little bit shocked. I was like, I sent him a note afterwards and said, take care of yourself. You kind of, you looked a little rough today. And I know that it's a combination of stress. It's stress in the industry that he's in. It's stress with the family life. It's the stress with the relationship. It's the stress with knowing that there's a better and higher place for you to be, but you still don't quite know how to get there, and get there with the minimal amount of effect on the other people around us. But I always keep reminding myself about that beautiful energy that beautiful energy that comes from that statement that came from the numbers 222 and 2222 with the download, or with the gateway, that the numbers were coming through. And it's that sentence that this situation is resolving itself beautifully for everyone involved. And when you start to embrace and embody that belief that this situation is resolving itself beautifully for everyone involved, that includes the people in their life presently. So if they're going through a divorce, if they're leaving a relationship, if they're starting something new, and they're going to be going through all of the dynamics of that, and it could be assets, it could be a difference in family, it could be custody issues, it could be just coming to peace with where they're at, it could be distance, because some of us don't live in the same cities. I happen to live in the same city, and I think there's an upside and then there's a crazy side to that, because it can be difficult to see somebody on such a regular basis that you have such a deep love for that you can't be with in the present time, in the present moment. But I can tell you that one of the things that I've become very clear about is I feel at peace with the love I feel for this man, because the fact that I could come to this much love for somebody, this much openness for somebody, this much faith in somebody, and trust in somebody, and in my case in a man. So it's not just in a going to work or finding a good career and a boss and having some healthy relationships. It's this, for me, it's when I recognized how much growth I have made through the gifts that have came to me from feeling this love for another human being. I spoke to someone today about this, is that I won't apologize for that. I'm not going to apologize for loving another human being the way that I do, because this is from the heart. This isn't from one lifetime. I'm an Akashic record reader, so I read past lives. I go into past life information to find out what happened and some of the blocks and restrictions that came from those happens. And maybe we took on a vow of some sort that keeps us, unable to really open up to something this time, or we have an unrighteous agreement to we came into this lifetime with an unrighteous agreement, and an unrighteous agreement is basically one that's not for our highest good. We may have made it in another lifetime, we may have made it in good intentions in that lifetime, but all agreements for the most part are supposed to end in the lifetime that they're originated in. And if we can carry vows and curses for literally like lifetimes and lifetimes, and I don't feel that's our story, but I do know that there's some blocks and restrictions from some past life stuff that's happened to us. And so I know that I have loved him for way beyond this lifetime. I knew that when I met him. And yes, it definitely helps to believe that there are other lifetimes. And so, I don't think I come back to the earth and incarnate and come into this lifetime and don't bring back any of my soul family, and don't connect with any soul family, and don't connect with any past relationships. They're the ones, we meet new souls, and new souls enter our story in our life. But the people that are in our lives, that are in the perimeter of our heart, our decisions, our experiences, so our families, our churches, our communities, our social lives, our friendships, most of those people have an experience with us that is beyond just being initially in this lifetime. We've been together before. We come together and get over and over again as soul families to work on our stuff. And so I had a really great experience when I was only in his office for about 6 minutes, but by the time I left, I asked him to stand up in front of me, and he's like, why? Why? He was like, what, he just knows me, and he just finds it kind of cute, I think, for the most part. I was like, just stand up in front of me, please. And he stood up in front of me, and we stared straight into each other's eyes, which is where we connect the deepest on the soul level. And so immediately I felt that connection. It was just like the initial connection. We literally just stared into each other's eyes, and I don't know how long it lasted. I'm guessing, in all honesty, it was probably in excess of a minute or 2 minutes, because I just smiled and I said a few things while it was happening. I was talking to him a little bit, but we literally did, like, if you're able to see my eyes right now, if I'm looking directly into the camera properly, we did not stop looking at each other. And I felt the reconnection. I felt the connection. His color started to come back into his skin. He had a little bit of, life in his in him by the time I left. And I was actually leaving to go away again to the drag races. And so I said, I just wanted to stop in and say hello. And I said, and I thought that you might be a little bit, maybe you're keeping a distance or whatever, and maybe you're a bit mad at me. And he said, no, I'm not mad. And I said, okay. And I said, well, I know that if you were, you won't stay that way once you see me. And of course, he broke into a smile about that, because he knows that that's actually true for both of us. And it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing to know that. It's one of the reasons that I actually know the level of feelings that I have for him, because I cannot stay in lower energetic feelings for him. I have never been able to stay upset at him or mad at him. The voice is all it takes sometimes. Just the voice, or seeing something, or seeing a look, or running into each other, and the smiles that we break out into, And so I just wanted to share that with you. It's 17 minutes. I'm not going to do a reading or anything tonight. I just wanted to kind of give you an update and tell you that, these relationships are real. They're there for a reason. They're expanding us. If you're not expanding and growing, if you're not feeling any growth out of this relationship, that's when I would question it. I would question that maybe my ego's a little more heavily involved in spirit and my heart. But if you know you're growing, if you know you've expanded your heart more than any other time and you've ever been with anybody, and some people are in relationships and finding that they have to experience this love while they're in a relationship with somebody that they love. And it's not that they stop loving them. They just have a measuring stick about how much more something can come into our lives and lift us up into a place that's just, like I said, this is fifth dimensional love. This is etheric love. It's beyond just the physical 3D ego love, and you hear me talk about that. So I do want to say thank you for coming to the channel. I hope you got something out of this. Just try to stay in faith and trust. If you're really questioning whether or not they're for you, and if Spirit has anything to tell you about that story, honestly to God, just take 90 minutes and book a reading with me, because we can really get some clear answers from Spirit. And the reason that I know that is because of the beautiful things that the people that are coming to me for readings are telling me during the reading and after the reading, and the testimonials and the letters that have come, and the thank yous. I'm just channeling. I'm just a channel to your story. But really, honestly, reach out. You can reach me at facebook.com, Wisdom of the Akashics. And you can send me an email to wisdomoftheakashics, aka SHICS, @gmail.com. And just say, Diane, I'd like to know more about a reading, and we'll talk about that process. And I do them on Skype is the best way to do them. Because if you are able to especially activate a camera, we can actually have a true conversation and talk back and forth. And I find the value that's coming from the people that are that we are doing readings together. I really feel there's some great and beneficial information, and this is what I'm recognizing as my gift. So one of the things I asked, I said, okay, what are some blocks? This is what I'm not gonna read anything really quickly, but because we're kind of talking about what maybe is keeping us from them, getting into those lower stories. So, while I'm talking here, I'm just like, okay, I start shuffling, whatever. I just wasn't sure I was even going to pull cards. But so my question was in the back of my head, I'm like, what's the blocks? What's restricting us? What are some of the things that we want to know as a group that maybe this resonates for you? So what are some things that would be coming up? And one of the first card that came up is unrequited love. And this card is actually almost, it's when you get it, it says there's not enough attraction or chemistry to keep this relationship going. What this card will show up at in a reading as is, one, this is actually shows up, it can be a fear. It can be, this isn't necessarily that there isn't the love in the relationship. We're sending out a constant fear that there's not enough attraction or chemistry or to keep it going. This card also shows up a lot in the relationship that people are in, because it's coming to us, and Spirit is saying to us, there isn't enough attraction and chemistry to keep that relationship going. They're going to likely make a change at some point. It's just a matter of, is it going to be in the timing where we're going to be able to be present for them? The next card comes up is separation. Time apart from your partner is on the horizon. Sometimes this is what happens. We actually have to step back. I had my separation in the sense that I had a couple weeks without communication and I, without, kind of touching base and texting and just keeping in at least a little bit of communication. And when I had that experience, this card came up right away for me, and I knew right away that I needed to give him space, and you've heard me talk about that. And this is a big one too. Children. Your love life is being affected by children. If there's children in the situation, you have to recognize that these decisions, whether you're the one in the relationship and questioning leaving, and you're solely worrying about your children, or they're staying out of fear of not seeing their children, or they doubt that they are going to, it's going to be a big wreck. Some people cannot take that step sometimes until the children issues is big enough and they're old enough and they're able to stay in it. So, but the closing card is, if we get through these blocks and restrictions, what's happening? Romantic feelings. Your feelings are real and worth exploring. So even with these things that are showing up as restrictions, don't dismiss the love. Don't dismiss this possibility. Don't dismiss that this relationship is true in your heart. And if you want to understand if it's true in your heart, again, if you reach out to me and we sit down and we do a session together, we'll talk about what your triggers are, that where you go into fear, and what your confirmations look like, because the cards will show us. And then as you talk to me, I'll learn things from you and I'll be able to help you with that. So I hope that this is beneficial to you guys. It's kind of just an off video. I am kind of like to share my own story because I think it's valuable for people to know, that I'm talking about this because I'm experiencing this. And I've experienced this on a gamut of emotions have come over the last few years to pure what is the word? It's not desperation. It's, just pure heart. I felt like my heart could not be more broken from this experience. And yet on the other side, my heart has not ever been more open because of this experience. And I give credit to this relationship, to this union, to recognizing this union. And my goal and how I stay sane in some of this is I just really work on being unattached to the outcome, meaning I don't give boundaries or restrictions on the outcome anymore. I don't ask Spirit that, if he hasn't resolved his issue by, June of this year, I'm out of here. You can do that. And because maybe you need the space to do that. Sometimes we actually literally have to go away and do that. But don't dismiss it. Don't dismiss that the feelings about these people and these unions are true. If you've never felt this way before, if you have a connection that takes place in your eyes, your soul, the eyes are the seat of the soul. If it takes place in your heart, if it takes place in the intense desire that you feel when you're with someone, the connection where you feel in alignment with them, where your spideys and chakras and everything just all lights up when you get around them, or you think about them, or you see them. I mean, there's flirting and there's stuff like that, but what happens is at a core level, you'll feel the happiest and the saddest that you could probably feel. And when you know that you're having that bridge of experience that's so far apart sometimes, that there's a reason for that. And the ego will be talking to us through the head all of the time. The heart speaks to us from here. So just get peaceful, breathe, take in some quiet breaths, and say, what is it you want me to know, God? What is it you want me to know about this relationship? And you will get answers. And I'm going to give you one little thing that I did. And I got this exercise from the beautiful lady, Cassidy Kane, who I'm going to share with you. It's something that she talks about is, when we want to kind of start to telepathically communicate with these relationships. So there's just different ways to do it. And one of them is to go to music. And of course, if you're watching my videos at all, I'm very big on music. And I'm very big on being able to get through stuff through music and song. And so, but it's like, what does the Spirit want me to know today? And it's like, hit shuffle on your playlist, on your iPods. And then pay attention to the songs come up. And then, sometimes it takes practice and sometimes we're feeling doubt. So we have to find some faith in that story that comes. But I did this today, and I'll just share it with you. I had been and watched a music video, and it's one that I had shared with you guys earlier. I just felt like touching base in my heart today. So I brought up the song, Jason Mraz, I Won't Give Up on Us. I Won't Give Up on You. And then I didn't want to watch YouTube. I didn't want to hear the music, the commercials come through. And I was getting ready and I was doing my hair. And so I went and put my iPod on rather than my computer, which the YouTube was coming through. And so but I didn't think about it. And so in the background, I had muted it because I had switched the speakers. But the YouTube kept running. And so I was finished doing what I was doing, and I was like, okay, Lord, so, or God, what is it you want me to know? Like what? I'm going to go see what, I'm going to do the playlist thing. I'm going to do the shuffle exercise, so to speak. And so I go on my computer, and I see YouTube's playing, and there's a video playing. And I'm like, I didn't turn YouTube off. I didn't actually hit the stop button. And I see that, and I pull up, I'm like, so I back out of the video that was actually playing, and I see the list of videos that have been playing. And if I counted them, I'm saying, 1, 2, 3, 4, probably about 8 videos. When I looked at the list later, about 8 videos had played. So average 4 minutes of video, some commercials in between. So, that's 35 minutes. The 3 songs listed at the top of my playlist. And I said, I want to go see what Spirit has to, what messages does my twin want me, does Spirit want me to know about my twin today, that I'm going to do this shuffle my playlist. This is what the playlists look like. These are the 3 songs. Well, hopefully you can see that. If you can't, I'm going to read them to you. I don't think you're going to be able to see them. The top one is Lifehouse, You and Me. It's a beautiful song, a beautiful, beautiful song that I love. The second song is Train, Marry Me. And the third song is Kobe Calais. I may be not pronouncing that wrong. And it's I Do. You and Me, Marry Me, I Do. I'm pretty sure Spirit came through today to tell me to stay on track with the love that's in my heart. And regardless of what's going on out there, don't let another story come in and replace this one in doubt. We are not together. That is not an easy experience. But is universe trying to tell me something? You better believe they are. And so through me, they're trying to tell you something.